Well, it comes down to the final day of the season. And when you go back to the start of it, you knew it wasn't going to be a regular season because of when it was starting. You knew you weren't going to have your training camp. You had a very abbreviated camp, no preseason games. But I got to ask you about that camp because you and I talk all the time about the mental preparation. And you had different players coming onto your team this year. I think in hindsight, it looks like there's some players that really would have benefited from your training camp. That anticipation and kind of that dread of those months leading up to camp, getting ready for the 2 mile run, all the skating that goes into your training camp, how you basically you beat guys down because it's going to benefit them come February, March, the dog days of the season. And it lets everybody kind of buy in. I was thinking about this the other day. It's almost like Herb Brooks back in the '80 Olympics, where, none of them wants to go through your camp. They don't want to do it. So they just all bond kind of against you in a way until they get through it.
There you
As
go.
you look back on it now, and you didn't have any of that stuff, how detrimental was that to the way you're used to running things and the way that this team has become accustomed to operating?
Yeah, yeah, and I certainly don't want to use it as an excuse as far as what's happened to us this year, but that's an important time, and you hit it right on the head. You get them to a bit of a crescendo that you're not going to beat us. We're not going to give in to you, and that creates that camaraderie, which I think is so very important. And that's the mental part of our camp that I really enjoy seeing players in the middle of it and see how they handle it and see if they can get to the other side of it. So we missed that. And I think all teams could say, however they run their camp, I think all teams can say they missed their preseason camp. I don't think you miss all the exhibition games, but you miss that important time of coming together. And let's face it, Bobby, the other stuff around just going out to dinner, having a beer or two together, all that stuff brings the camaraderie too. After a tough game on the road, going out, and we can't do that either. So crazy year. Certainly not using it as an excuse as far as how bad we played this year, how inconsistent we were. But that's a big part of who we are. That's a big part of how we built our standard here.
You've gone through so much stuff, so many different things since you've been here, off ice things that you've handled so very well. You and your team, you kind of rallied around things when everybody on the outside counted you out. You guys used that to count yourselves in. But what happened this year in those first couple of weeks? How much did that, not having the camp we just talked about, and then having that situation with Pierre-Luc Dubois, did that just send everything so sideways early on that it was hard to get back on track?
Yeah, and this is where I think the strength of our team is. We've had to handle those situations before. Remember, Brett and Bob, they declared they're not coming back after the season. They were going to go out and seek other employment. A lot of different things happened. For some reason, I just did not do a good enough job in corralling the team after Luke. After Luke played a few games with us, it just was not up to the standard. And, it came to me sitting Luke in a game, turned into a big thing around our team. We didn't handle it well enough. And that's on my watch, Bobby. That's a big part of what I need to take care of. And for some reason, I just did not get the steps in the right order to keep us together. Along with some different personalities coming in with the trade, Patty and Jack, and then Max and Andy, that trade there. We lose people and then we bring some new ones in. I just could not get everybody to come together, and that's on me. That's a big part of coaching. That's a big part of my responsibility. It's a big part of what I enjoy doing is that culture part of it. I did not do a good enough job of that this year.
And is that something because of the season it was, or because of the players that are here, or is it just the fact that it's funny how this game works? Sometimes time just runs out on you. I mean, it is very cyclical. People in your position seem like they stay in this position less in the National Hockey League than they do in other sports. And I don't know why that is. Some people say, your voice wears out, or they need a new voice, or lose the room, and all the terminology that people put into it. But is this just sometimes when you just can't get it right? Does it just happen that way?
Yeah. I'll answer it this way. This is how I feel about the coaching position and years spending with a team. I don't believe that line of a shelf life of a coach. I don't believe that. But I do believe a fit. Is the coach the right fit for that group? I do believe that. And those are the things that, as we've gone through here, Yarmo and I've talked about very honestly, as far as what is the right fit here. Am I still the right fit? Where do we keep on going here after this season in some of the struggles we had? So I'll answer it that way. The shelf life, I don't buy, but I think the manager, the organization, and the coach have to come to an understanding. Is it the right fit with the personnel? Is it the right fit to wherever the team is to try? Are they ready to win? Or do you need a coach to develop the foundation of the organization? And all those things come into play. I certainly believe in that. And those are discussions that and I've had as we've gone through here through the struggles this year.
Is it still fun, or how much harder is it to have fun in a season like this, where especially when you get to a point this year where you just know it's not going to get fixed and you're
Yeah.
trying your best, but did it suck a lot of the fun out of it for you?
Yeah, you know what? It is winning. Winning is what we do. This is where you have your fun. To the amount of I mean, did we ever put? I don't think we ever put 3 games together in a winning streak. I'm not even sure if there was 2. And that's a hard way for players to live and a coaching staff to live, as far as not having it wear down on you when you come to the rink. And we all want to have fun. It's a sport. Remember that it's a sport. But you need to have the fun. You need to feel good about yourself, and you play 2 or 3 good weeks of really good hockey. And we've gone through that last 4 or 5 years. We've had some great runs as a team and as an organization. We could not get that to work this year, and so to call it a grind, yeah, it was a grind. And coupled with everything else, where you just can't, even when you're on the road, you're stuck in the hotel. You're eating the same food. You're being served the food where usually you want to go out to the restaurant, have a beer, maybe order dinner at some time at night, and be on your own a little bit. It's all structured where you're stuck in that hotel. Listen, and let me preface that: really good food, really nice hotels, but it just wasn't. You're still caught. You're stuck in there. All that comes together, and if you're not winning hockey games, it sucks. It just sucks. And we have sucked all year long, and it's been miserable. And quite honestly, this is our last game. Thank God. I'm glad it's over. I hope we can learn from it. I hope each individual, whether with this team or with other teams, or they go to another team, can learn how bad it can get sometimes, and learn from the things that we went through. I certainly have a number of things I need to learn from it, and we'll see where it all goes as you get another opportunity in this type of situation.
Does a season like this, for someone like you, does it zap the passion out of you? And I'm asking you this because I've listened to you for 3 or 4 years say things like, you guys know I'm on the back 9 here. My wife has lived my life all these years, and at some point it's time for me to live hers. When I see a season like this, and I know how frustrated you are, and you're losing that fun. That's why I ask you that question. Did it zap the coaching life out of you?
No. No matter if it's here, I'm not sure what happens. Let's face it, it's very well, it's out there. What's going to happen? Should he go, and this and that? And I get that. It's all part of the business. I want to coach. I have been blessed to have 2 great assistant coaches here that have kind of taken over the X's and O's, and I have really delved into the mind and the culture of just what it is, how strong mentally you need to be. I have really gone into that part of the coaching, and as a head coach, you have to trust the other people to handle the other stuff, and so it's given me a whole different vigor as far as coaching, and I'm in. I cannot get the competing out of me. I just love being involved in the pressure of it, and trying to figure things out to find a way to win a hockey game, and to have a successful team. So whether it's here and if it's not here, I don't know. Do I get another opportunity? I have no idea, but I want to coach. I do.
It's almost like, and you and I've touched on this in the past, almost like a baseball manager is what that head coaching position has
Yeah,
developed into, because you're managing so many things. You're managing the media, as you are right now. You're managing personalities within the room. And as you know, those personalities are so much more different now. It was like uh, in years past, and not that far in the past, it was like every player that came through was the same guy. It was the
yeah.
same ideas. And now there's the individual personalities, and there's the personal brandings, and there's all this stuff that goes on. So you're managing personalities. That in itself is almost just enough work, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and that's the thing, Bobby. As I've said to you many times, you have those words: accountability, culture, standard. Really, really cool words to say. It sounds really good, but it takes a lot of time to create that. It takes time when you get to the standard that you think you're trying to get to, and you feel you're getting there. It's every day. You have to stay on top of it because you can't leave it alone. You've got to answer that problem or that situation on a Monday. And if you're just tired and you don't feel like doing it because it may cause a little conflict or who knows what, and you shove it aside, something's coming Wednesday, and you get lost. You get lost in it. So the part of the coaching I love is that part of it, and is personality, is being a pro, and uh, being a good person. That's the stuff that I enjoy being involved in. And that's an everyday process because something's happening with 23 athletes with egos out of the woodwork around you. And you need to calm them down in certain situations and handle these things. And I love being part of that, but you're going to be ready every day for it because you never know what's coming.
You mentioned your assistant coaches, and Brad Larson, Brad Shaw, Kenny McCudden are the three guys that have been with you the longest here on your staff. You didn't bring anybody with you when you came in 6 years ago. You inherited guys, and they are guys that you have a very close relationship now. That you have with them now, aren't they?
Oh God, our relationship has evolved. What's neat is we all grew together with the team. Because there were some struggles with the team when I came here, and we just kind of all grew together as a unit, and it's turned into into a family. We've just kind of grown together, found our way to gain some respect in the league, found a way to win a round or two here and there, fought our asses off to get in each and every year. And this year, and this is where what I've got to learn, we fell off the mountain. We weren't even close. And so I am blessed to have the coaches. And I was nervous when I came here because I was, I had a pretty good coaching staff, and Jim Schoenfeld out of New York, and Mike Sullivan, who was with me for 6 or 7 years, who I learned a ton from. Now he has two rings in his back pocket, and is one of the top coaches in this league. I was nervous because I knew there was a lot of work to be done here, and I didn't know these guys. I interviewed Chauzy, didn't know him that well, didn't know who the hell Brad Larson was. I knew he played in Atlanta because I coached Tampa in that Southeast Division back then, and but I've enjoyed that part of it, the relationship growing with those guys.
Can I get you to talk about the guys that we never talk about that are such an important part of what happens here? And that is your equipment managers and your trainers, and Tim Leroy's, and Jamie Healy and Jason Stupinski, your equipment managers, and Mike Vogt and Chris Strickland and Nate Skato, who are doing the athletic training for you. No one ever talks about those guys. I see them up close and personal, except for this year. I watch what they do. I don't know why they do it, especially the equipment guys. I don't know why you would ever want to have that job. I really don't. It's a ton of work for zero appreciation in some cases, but they're really the backbone of what you do.
Zero sleep for those equipment guys. They don't sleep. They're just not allowed to because they have so many things to do. One of the best staffs I've been involved in. And it's got to the point because I've been here for a number, this is 6 years. We kind of read each other's mind now. So it's really gone through, and it's a smooth operation as far as all that's concerned. And you can't forget the most important people in an organization are the people that work in this rink. Ian, who does the ice for us, all the people in the building are the most important people because we don't get out there and do our thing unless everything's taken care of for us in the building. They're so forgotten about, and so I want to put a note in for them. But my medical group and the equipment guys, they have been fantastic, and they're just as frustrated as everybody else, to see the year we've had. And we're just so, you hope that it's just a little blip on the screen, that you bounce back. We're going to have a full camp next year. You bounce back and try to get it done the right way.
When you came here, you had worked in big places like New York and Vancouver. What have you learned about Columbus in Central Ohio, and what's going to stick with you no matter what happens to you from here on out? And how much of an ambassador are you going to be for playing in Columbus and living in this area?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the thing I try to talk about with so many different people. How underrated. I just, it bugs me, and I've got myself in trouble with the league when, when people start talking about Columbus, and it bothers me when people, they don't know what this area is about. I didn't when I came in here. I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but I've been here now for 6 years in that great little town of Sunbury that my wife and I just love being involved with. And I just, it's one of the most underrated places I've been in. It just bothers me that people kind of look by it, and all this talk about players don't want to come here and live. And, you got to try it on, Bobby. You can't make, people are so quick to make these thoughts on areas when they're not even familiar with it. And we've sunk into it. My wife and I love it, have lifelong friends here. We love being here, and an ambassador. I am always going to be an ambassador of this city and the people that are in it, because we're part of it.
When you said you've gotten in trouble, I had forgotten about the Jim Rutherford, Jack Johnson thing until you mentioned those words years
Yeah.
ago when you fought so hard in your comments for this for this
Yeah,
city.
well, that's the thing that when I came here, it's about respect for me. You want to gain some respect in a tough league to get respect in, and that's what I love about our league. It's tough to gain respect. I wanted our team and our city to gain respect in this league, and I think we've gone down the right road to do that. And yeah, I'll go nose to nose with people about this area and how it is, and to live here, nose to nose, and because I feel I'm part of it now. People have accepted my wife and I, and we're part of it. We feel we belong here, and yeah, that pisses me off when there's lack of respect when they talk about Columbus.
Well, Torch, I think that you are. I think you've really helped this franchise because you made it relevant, not just from the way that you changed the culture here. Which again, I've told you this. I heard this from like 5 different coaches before you, or 4 or 5 different coaches, and it never happened until you got here. But there's that, and then there's, you drew attention to the Blue Jackets and to Columbus, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it was a little off base, right? But but it was. But it was a lot of fun along the way. I think many times there was a day we were in Boston. I don't know if it was a playoff game or not, but you were going into one of your spiels in the pregame scrum there in front of the media, and I started laughing, and you turned it and you yelled at me for laughing because you said I was going to make you laugh. But it was, it's who you are, and it still amazes me that so many people don't understand you. It's like, it's he's fine. This is what he's got to do. He's actually distracting you, dummy, is what he's doing. He's taking you off the path. And you're buying into it. Don't yell at me.
Well, I listen. I am very fortunate for the organization to give me a whack at this, and I feel very, very, very alive as far as being part of this as we've tried to go. It's been a really hard year because you start climbing those steps, Bobby, and you start getting there in the bubble in Toronto. Remember, we lost that game. Toronto scored 3 goals at the end of the game there, and about, I forgot how many games, 2 minutes left in it, and we still come back and win that series. I feel very, very lucky to be involved with the people as we continue to try to grow the organization. This has been a kick in the teeth this year, but this is where you find out about an organization and people when you strap them up again next year and see where we're at.
Last thing I want to say to you is simply thanks, because you've always been so giving of your time with me. Yeah, you've given me a lot of crap about it over the years, but that's been part of the fun between us. And this year, especially because we have to do these interviews in this kind of a forum, you've been there every single time. It's really, to be honest with you, in a year where I can't get around the team and I don't get to do all of the things that that I'm used to doing. Sitting and talking with you for 10 to 15 minutes every couple of games is it's really been refreshing to me, because it's kind of that little it's that thread that
Yeah.
that puts me back to what we had been doing. So I can't thank you enough for your time and for your friendship over the years here. Like you said, no matter what happens, it has really been an honor. And I remember I told this story to you in front of people at a ticket gathering when you first came in here. I watched all the YouTube videos and I looked at my wife and I said, how in the hell am I going to handle this guy?
Uh-oh.
And I would have never thought, and I still tell people every day, you can ask people in the office. I like a couple of weeks ago when I said that I thought you were a lunatic, or I called you the idiot coach, and I would have never thought in a million years I could say those words to John Tortorella and make him laugh.
Yeah.
And it's truly been an honor. Thank you so much for all the time that you've given me, especially in what has been the most difficult of circumstances.
Yeah, and Bobby, I appreciate it too, as far as how you've handled yourself, and it's a good relationship this way. We're friends. We're going to be friends for life, but this is a good relationship because I just feel comfortable in the conversation. So I appreciate you and how you go about your business, and we'll see where we go after this year. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, let's see that, and enjoy your last game of the season behind the Blue Jackets bench. And whatever happens to you beyond that, I wish you and your family nothing but the best. And yeah, you can't get rid of me that easily, Torts. We'll talk soon.
No chance, man. Likewise. Best to your family, bud.
Thank you.